Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and welcome to the CBS Evening News Online Edition. Just ahead, a grim, chilling assessment. That's what the new director of the CIA gave Congress on the whereabouts of missing Russian nuclear materials. We'll have details. Also, analyzing the results. We'll give you the inside story on the man who may very well be emerging as Iraq's new leader. And Eye on America takes a hard look at why those without health insurance are routinely charged much more for hospital care. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News Online Edition. This was today's message on Capitol Hill. Osama bin Laden and other terrorists are still out there, and they will try to strike this country again. In Senate testimony, the new chief of the CIA laid out a sobering new intelligence assessment of al-Qaeda and other international terror groups. The terrorist threat, he said, is clear. But CBS's David Martin reports how, where, and exactly when they might attack. All that remains as murky as ever.
In his first public testimony as Director of Central Intelligence, Porter Goss gave a chilling assessment of the terrorist threat still hanging over America.
It may be only a matter of time before al-Qaeda or other group attempt to use chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear weapons.
The Vice Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee read from a CIA report about terrorist attempts to steal nuclear material in Russia.
We find it highly unlikely that Russian authorities would have been able to recover all the material reportedly stolen.
Then he asked Goss this question.
Is the material missing from Russian nuclear facilities sufficient to construct a nuclear weapon?
There is sufficient material unaccounted for so that it would be possible for those with know-how to construct a nuclear weapon.
Can you assure the American people that the material missing from Russian nuclear sites has not found its way into terrorist hands?
No, I can't make that assurance.
And that may be what's most alarming, just how uncertain even the most senior officials are about the threats facing this country.
Iran, for instance, a hardline Islamic regime which is believed to be developing nuclear weapons. The head of the Defense Intelligence Agency testified today Iran could have a nuclear weapon in 5 years. But Israeli officials have told President Bush Iran is only 6 months away from being ready to build a bomb. Vice President Cheney has warned Israel could launch a preemptive strike against Iran, but a knowledgeable source says neither Israel nor the United States has good enough intelligence for a preemptive strike, although not for lack of trying. Iran today accused the U.S. of using unmanned drones to spy on its nuclear facilities. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Post-election Iraqi politics is focused on who will become the new prime minister. CBS's Kimberly Dozier reports on the man who now appears to have the inside track in tonight's Inside Story.
The man emerging as the consensus candidate for Iraq's winning Shiite coalition is neither a holy man nor an extremist. Iraq's next prime minister could be Dr. Ibrahim Jafari, an unassuming physician who spent years in exile in London.
He is a man who believes in dialogue. He is a man who believes in reality. He does not live in the world of apocalyptic religious people.
His Dawa Party website urges the Islamization of Iraq. Dr. Jafari says he does not.
He is not one of those people who want to impose their religion on others.
He supports women's rights and individual freedom, a platform sure to produce a sigh of relief in the White House, where some had wondered if America's gift of democracy to Iraq would end up producing an Iranian-style religious state. Nor is he pushing for a timetable for pulling out U.S. forces, as some more extreme Shiites have. It is a flaw when there are multinational forces in a country, he says, but there's no reason to compound the flaw by pulling the troops out before the nation is secure. Dr. Jafari counts on the coalition to keep him safe. Long a player in Iraq's previous interim administrations, he lives in the heavily guarded U.S. Green Zone. And he's comfortable in the halls of American power. Still in the running, however, is Pentagon darling-turned-pariah Ahmed Chalabi. He fell from favor when Washington accused him of leaking secrets to Iran, and U.S. troops raided his home seeking evidence. There's been a thaw in U.S.-Chalabi relations of late as his political fortunes have risen after he maneuvered himself into an alliance with the majority Shiites.
Either candidate would be seen as a signal that the Shiites want to reach out to Iraq's different ethnicities and faiths and its coalition supporters. A shrewd political olive branch showing they're willing to compromise for now. Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Baghdad.
A class action lawsuit has been filed against a West Virginia hospital by patients without medical insurance, one of dozens filed by uninsured patients in the past year against hospitals in 26 states. It's not about the treatment they received, it's the sticker shock. Why are the uninsured being charged a lot more than other patients? CBS's Wyatt Andrews investigated for tonight's Eye on America.
For Ed and Diane Jellison, it was the perfect storm of bad luck. They had just dropped their health insurance to look for a cheaper plan when one morning Diane found Ed unconscious.
He was blue. He didn't respond to me at all. And so I just immediately called 911.
Ed was rushed here to Florida Hospital, where for 18 days he was treated for a brain infection that destroyed his short-term memory.
He had to learn to read all over again. It was like he never had known how.
And then the bill arrived, $116,000.
How would you characterize a $116,000 bill?
Price gouging.
As Diane studied that bill, she discovered an open secret, that uninsured patients routinely face hospital bills 3 or 4 times higher than patients with insurance. Take Ed's bill of $116,000. An insurance company would have paid just $65,000 to $80,000. Medicare would have only paid $12,000 for the same care.
Florida Hospital appears to be worse than a used car salesman.
KB Forbes is an activist for the uninsured.
These guys are giving the uninsured markups of 400, 500%.
Is it like this everywhere?
Yes.
Hospitals claim there is only one sticker price for a given service. However, Medicare then gets a big discount. HMOs and insurance companies negotiate a discount, and at the end, it really is only patients without insurance who are ever asked to pay full fare.
Why is that? Florida Hospital's Rich Morrison says the hospital is stuck in a bizarre and broken system. He admits that the sticker prices at hospitals have to be inflated to balance out all those discounts.
I use the word bizarre. So hospitals were forced to come up with some pricing structure that would try to account for this mishmash of how we were being paid.
Just breathe normally.
Florida Hospital says it helps the uninsured, giving away tens of millions worth of free care and operating this clinic for the uninsured. That means most of the people stuck at full sticker price are uninsured patients with assets, patients like the Jellisons.
We simply asked for a reasonable price. They just did it their way to try to stick you with it.
The hospital has tried to settle with the Jellisons, but at prices they've rejected. They admit they owe money, but have gone to court arguing that a system that produces a bill like this should be sent to intensive care. In Orlando, Wyatt Andrews for Eye on America.
More stories are just a click away, but be sure to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Thursday's broadcast, if you're a young parent with a baby who won't go to sleep, have we got a story for you. We'll show you how a pair of sleep specialists helped one very frustrated couple. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.